Hello and welcome to DaTechguy's Year in Review. I'm your host, DaTechguy, and it's great to do a video for YouTube for the first time in a very long time since I was restored to YouTube this year. As you may or may not remember, I was a conservative blogger, conservative talk show radio host, and holds the record as the very first new media person to question Donald Trump at a news conference. And as you may also know, YouTube banned me several years ago over my opinions on election 2020, which seemed to be more and more looking like they weren't just opinions, but were facts. But I'm now back, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the year in review as my only video of 2025, because I have retired from full-time blogging and blogging as a business. I post occasionally a lot of stuff in my baseball league and a few other opinions and an occasional bad joke. But I thought it would be nice to end the year with a video to let you guys know I'm still here, still thinking, even though I'm not doing the legwork that I once did. Now, first, before I do anything else, let me tell you the story of how I came back to YouTube. Now, you might recall back in 2022, when I was still blogging and trying to make a living off of blogging, YouTube said that they were no longer going to ban people based on their opinions concerning election 2020. So naturally at that time, and they were banning me for misinformation, I sent them, this was actually June 2023 that I sent this. I put out an appeal to my banning, and I said the following, quote, "I understand you've now changed your policies on election commentary due to the curbs it made on free speech, as you had banned me based on 3 commentaries I made on election 2020, all of which had under 100 views, which is a little embarrassing when I think about it. Coincidentally, just as I was about to reach 1,000 subscribers, which would have meant I would have been able to monetize YouTube and perhaps still make a living off of reporting. I am asking for my over a decade's worth of work, including thousands of hours of interviews and reports covering not only elections, local, state, and national all over the nation, but events from CPAC to pinball festivals to quilt shops to religious gatherings can now be restored. Let's see if you actually meant these words," and I'm quoting YouTube. "In the current environment, we feel that while removing this content does curb some misinformation, it could also have the unintended effect of curtailing political speech without meaningfully reducing the risk of violence in real-world harm. I pass the ball to you." Well, it didn't take very long with Biden in the White House for them to reply. And they said, "We reviewed your channel carefully." Now, keep those words in mind. "We reviewed your channel carefully and have confirmed that it violates our community guidelines. We know this is probably disappointing news, but it's our job to make sure YouTube is a safe place." So I was still banned. Well, back in September of this year, as one of our year in review, Google, before Congress, admitted that censorship under Biden promises to end bans of YouTube accounts and thousands of Americans censored for political speech. YouTube admitted to the following to the House Judiciary Committee, and this is under oath. "The Biden administration pressured Google to censor Americans and remove content that didn't violate their policies. The Biden administration censorship pressure was unacceptable and wrong. Public debate should never come at the expense of relying on authorities. The company will never use third-party fact checkers. Europe's censorship laws targeting American companies and threaten American speech, including removal of lawful content." Well, once I saw that, I decided to log in, and I sent another appeal. And this time I didn't write much. I just sent a link to this story of them testifying and included the words, "Do you mean it?" Well, you'll never guess what happened when I got home from work that day. This is what YouTube sent to me. "Hi, DaTechBlog. We have reviewed your appeal for the following. Channel DaTechguy blog. After taking a little look, we can confirm that your channel does not violate our community guidelines." Now, mind you, 2 years ago, they said they had carefully examined my channel and decided that you make YouTube unsafe. So now, this is back. So basically, I lost years' worth of views, the monetization of my channel during an election year, where, as the first media person in history to question Donald Trump at press conferences twice, I might have made enough income to still be doing this for a living. But I ended up closing at the end of the year. So I think, frankly, YouTube owes me some money. I'd accept a Wizard of Oz pinball machine or a James Bond machine, spectacular James Bond machine, the Dr. No machine. But I'm not holding my breath. But I thought it was very interesting that they carefully reviewed it, which basically as it's been often said, you don't hate the left enough. You don't hate the media enough. But I'm not needed. As you can see from the reporting out of Minnesota this week, there are citizen journalists doing work even better than I did, uncovering millions and billions of dollars worth of fraud that the mainstream media doesn't want uncovered. So I may not be doing what I was doing before anymore, but the work is getting done. So I'll continue in my warehouse job. I'll retire, when I get to 70, full time, and just enjoy the rest of my life and watch the media go nuts. Speaking of going nuts, I want to go back to the beginning of the year, to my post on January 20th, and as you may know if you followed my blog for a long time, every January 20th I reviewed the presidents. And I ranked the presidents who left and ranked the presidents and gave my predictions on the presidents who were coming. Now, Donald Trump was a little strange because he had already had a term and he already had a rank. Now, I had ranked Trump in my top tier of presidents around the same as Teddy Roosevelt. I figured him for about fourth. But I crossed him off of that rank because I didn't rank Cleveland's two terms separately. I ranked them together. So Trump's presidency is going to have to be ranked on how he does this year. As far as Joe Biden goes, the big change that I saw with Biden in terms of ranking him was basically the question of, was Joe Biden, the worst president of all time? I mean, given the Obama administration's attempt to destroy Trump, he would seem to have a stranglehold on the bottom rung. I had ranked Buchanan worst, but I decided Obama was worse than him because Buchanan didn't try and destroy the democracy of the country on purpose. And then came Biden, and at the time Biden came in, I said he comes into office with one advantage that Trump had, namely the lowest expectations of any incoming president in 4 years. And the amazing thing about Biden is, I suspect he isn't actually holding power, both due to his own infirmities and the crown that owes him. They have enough on him and his own to put his entire family away, and he chooses to stray for anything beyond the useful idiot status. His owners from China to Obama will destroy him before January 2023 rather than afterwards. Of course, he's old and sick enough that he might not even live to be pushed out for Harris at that date. But with the best health care available, who knows? And I said, bottom line, this was what and this was in 2020 I wrote this, 2021 I should say. Bottom line, given his age, infirmity, corruption, and the nature of his getting power by theft, I can't imagine he can max out to make even level 3 with Hayes and company. And what I've seen actually suggests it will take real effort to avoid the bottom tier. I'd be delighted to be wrong, but I doubt that'll be the case. And not only was I not proven wrong, but the Biden years excelled my worst nightmares. The list of Joe Biden failures are so long, it's incredible. No Democrat dares to find woman these days. There's the anti-Semitism and the lawfare. And the worst thing that we saw wasn't all of that stuff. The worst thing we saw was East Palestine, Ohio, and Western North Carolina, where we had a president whose administration did not help sufferers from natural and unnatural disasters because they were either a Trump area or Trump supporters. Now, I thought Obama had a stranglehold on that bottom rung, but apparently Joe Biden or those who were running the country, the auto pen, decided to push him away and say, hold my beer. As for Trump, this is what I said about him on his first day. If Trump died at 11:59 a.m., he'd be ranked third best president of all time. But now he has to be judged by his entire term. To say the expectations are beyond the moon is to understate it. But Trump's a problem solver who has apparently learned a lot from his first term. He has a team in place and is ready to act at once. But the moment he takes his oath, he's a lame duck. If all he manages to do is secure the border and bring down energy prices, his second term is a success. If he manages to do that and bring peace to Ukraine, Israel, and avoid a Chinese invasion of Taiwan, it'll be a great success. If he does this and make a deal with Denmark and Greenland to restore water to cities, it's a tremendous success. If he manages to do this and drain the swamp, then he moves above Lincoln and Washington. If the economy sputters and gas prices don't go down and he doesn't manage to get the wars under control, he will without a question drop. I have no idea how this will end. Well, let me say this. Trump is clearly the best president of my lifetime, and it isn't close. If his term ended today, December 31st, 2025, it would be one of the most successful terms in the history of a presidency. Most presidents would have been delighted to accomplish what Trump has in 4 years. He's done it in one, and a lame duck year to boot. He's done it with everyone trying to destroy him. And he's done it because he knew what he wanted to do, planned how he was going to do it, and went ahead and did it. And I think a lot of his success is the fact that he did not bring in swamp creatures this time. He brought in people who did not trust how the government was run, and they've done amazing things. And this brings up a pet peeve of mine. I have heard, especially over the last 3 months, person after person, why aren't these people in jail? Why hasn't this been done? Why hasn't that been done? And I can't decide if it's because Trump has accomplished so much in less than a year that they're spoiled, sort of like we in New England are about Tom Brady. Tom Brady, go to the Super Bowl every other year. We expected it. Or if it's just an opposing psyop. I think it's a part of both. Because you have to remember something, and you have to remember this about those people. You have to remember this about Tucker Carlson. You have to remember this about Candace Owens. You have to remember this about people at CNN and MSNBC and The Bulwark, and now Marjorie Taylor Jones and all these people. Right now, they get their money by either attacking Trump or attacking Israel or both. And no amount of reason, no amount of logic, no amount of law is going to make a person change their opinion when their income depends on them having that opinion. And a great example of this actually happened this week. Adam Klinghoffer, one of the first Republicans who became Never Trumper, was saying to Harry Dillon, just remember, once you're out of office, you'll never be able to get a job. And Harriet Dillon announced, hey, I was a job creator. I didn't come here to make money. I'm already making money and creating jobs. I'm not like you guys. And that's the thing. A lot of Trump's people are doers. And because they're doers, they're doing things. The border is already secure. And it proved that we didn't need new laws. We just needed a president willing to enforce them. We have massive deportations. And I want to mention something about the deportations. Right now, I think that the special offer is still on, $3,000 if you self-deport. There are 56 countries where $3,000 is greater than the average gross income of a person there. And there are several countries where it's within $100 or two. This is how great America is. America is so great that if you offer somebody $3,000, 20 million people, let's say 20 million illegals, if you offer them $3,000 and to go home with your stuff and be able to reapply, they'll stay here rather than take an amount of income equal to a year's income in 56 different countries. That's how great America is, despite what people say about it. Trump's successes are incredible. And the economic success that's coming, I've seen a bit at my work. I work in a warehouse. Last year under Joe Biden, our temps, we bring in temps for Black Friday and Cyber Monday because there's so much shipping. Our temps were gone after Cyber Monday. That Tuesday, the temps were all gone. This year, Christmas fell on a Thursday. We were closed on Wednesday. The temps were still there that Tuesday, the 22nd. I think a lot of stuff is coming. And from what I heard from the UPS drivers, they were behind because there was so much stuff being ordered. Down at the lowest priced gas station in Fitchburg, gas is $2.63. That's 15 cents down from just a month ago. I think a Trump boom is coming. I think it's going to come, and I think it's going to come big. Now, he has not succeeded in bringing peace to Ukraine yet, and I stress yet, because a deal is going to have to be made. And Putin has desires, and so does Zelensky. And both of them are going to have to get something that they want. And Putin's holding out because he has a lot of the media and such. There's a lot of people who do not want Trump to bring peace to Ukraine. Because if he brings peace to Ukraine and Russia, that's it. I mean, they won't be able to keep a peace prize from him. But I think it's going to eventually happen. But the war's going to continue, and they're going to continue to fight. But the most significant thing about that war isn't that it's going on, or even Trump ending it. The most significant thing about the war is the use of drones. And we are going to have to start thinking of defenses against drones. Israel just came out with a laser defense to use against drones and missiles and mortars and so forth. We're going to have to see more of that. We're going to see submarine nettings again. We're going to have to think in terms of shotgun type things to shoot down drones. Because drones are the future. And I think it's going to be like when the first submarine sank the first Union ship. I think we have to rethink this, and we have to be ready to rethink it now. Because if we don't rethink it now, we're not going to be ready when it comes militarily. Oh, and by the way, the military recruitment is beyond the goals now again. Again, all we needed is a president who actually meant it. I think Trump has done a tremendous job. I disagree with him on a couple of minor points. I don't like the government owning pieces of companies. I think it's a bad precedent. I don't like the idea of ending the filibuster. I think it's a bad precedent. Yes, the Democrats may do it, but I think they're going to crash and burn before then. But still, I don't like the idea. I don't like the suggestion that some people are making of Trump taking over states. No, that's Reconstruction stuff. We don't do that. And you're going to hear it from me. You've probably heard it from somebody else, but you're going to hear it from me. All this talk about a third Trump term, it's just BS. He's just stoking these guys, and people are pushing it for clicks. The biggest news, in my opinion, of the term is the cutting of U.S. aid. The cutting of U.S. aid and DOGE's stuff has basically cut off, or was the beginning of cutting off, of the pipeline of money to the left's NGOs. You'll notice protests are smaller. You'll notice that because people aren't being paid for it as much. The millionaires have to come up with their own money. But now we're seeing the Somali fraud, and not just Somalis. There are other nationalities doing this as well. But you see the fraud and the kickback scheme. Now, the fraud and the kickback scheme with the daycares and all this such is not much different than the Planned Parenthood fraud and kickback scheme.